Brand new Maserati with no mileage. Ooh, 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 yeah. Hello. Bienvenidos. Bienvenidos. Smoking a bong right now, huh? Good for you, buddy. Good for you. Buddy, that's good. Rolex with the diamonds keep me shining. Ah, yes, I have appropriated Amelia's shades. I've taken a husband's liberty with her shades. Somebody made a big mistake earlier and told me that like me having shades on throws off their whole fucking game in here because they track my eyes. You may as well have you may as well have told me your darkest secret, man, and expected me not to fucking use it against you. Come on. Come on. Like, Paul, this is throwing me off, man. I track your eyes. Not anymore. They fear my big feminine Jackie O shades. Big, furious Jackie O shades. You missed an H there, Matt. Paul, I think COVID is the greatest, most evil hoax in the history of mankind. How about you? I think I'm going to spend your $5 on something for COVID. I think I'm going to spend take that $5 that you gave me and find a COVID charity for India or one of the other third world countries that's currently on fire with it. Yeah, send some masks or something over there with your $5, you dumb motherfucker. Probably a troll. He's got his name is Trump One, and he's got the graph of like the Biden votes when they all came in at once. He's got like the salt graph. The graph of salty Trumpsters. See, look, Biden faked it, yo. That's what makes him a great troll, hiding in plain sight. Yeah. So weird how there are still conservatives who watch TJ DFF. I don't think it's weird at all. I actually think that, well, TJ could probably make a greater claim to this than I could, but I actually think that because we're not typical like lefties, that a lot of more conservative folks enjoy listening to us. 'Cause, 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 'C never seen people not accept a politician's win this hard for this long. I guess you didn't live through the first Obama presidency or weren't old enough to remember it. Bruh, dude, for 4 years, for even like after because he won 2 in a row. Dude, for all 8 years of Obama's presidency, the right was absolutely incapable of accepting that he had won. And then the same thing happened with Trump. Like, you don't remember after Hillary dropped the strap to Trump, how not a single fucking Democrat would admit that Trump had actually won the election? He stole it. It was Russia. It was this. It was that, right? That's the new way that this happens, dude. Yeah, Trump himself was like a leader of the conspiracy crowd that were trying to drum up that Obama wasn't a fucking American. He was born in fucking Sudan or some shit. And then like he cheated and blah 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 blah, like all that shit, dude. It happens literally every election cycle now. It didn't used to happen. I will tell you, it doesn't. Like Angry Gamer says, it happens every election cycle. That didn't used to be true. There was a time when like a politician would lose, they would concede to their opponent who won the election. People would be salty for a few days, and then everybody would move on. But that has stopped happening. The politicians on both sides of the political aisle, if you want to call it an aisle, it's more like just a pipeline. On both ends of the political pipeline, love when people continue to prosecute elections for fucking 4 years, because it allows them to keep fresh in the minds of voters that they were screwed out of the last election. So make sure you turn out. It's just, it's part of the game. It's 100% part of the game. So don't act like, everybody freaking out over fucking Trump losing or Biden winning or whatever the fuck is some new fucking thing. It really isn't. This is exactly how both sides of the aisle, like, react now. I think the last politician that you saw that's going to have that kind of grace, and I'm not even saying that it's like a positive fucking politician, but John McCain, when he dropped to fucking Obama, tried really hard to temper the worst fucking nature of his audience. Like, he went out and very much tried to say, like, look, the numbers are back, the numbers are clear. There's no two ways about it. We have a new president, and his name is Barack Obama. People booed, and he said, no. He stopped them there at his fucking rally. Go watch his fucking acceptance speech in 2000 and what was Obama's first run? 2008? 2004? He went out and said that shit, and people booed, and people were like, and McCain was like, no, don't, please. He's your president. He won this fair and square. He ran a great race. I want to let him know that I'm on his team. I'm on his side. I hope we can work together. Like all that shit. Yeah, he turned the crowd. He turned the crowd with his example. Because that crowd wanted him to come out and be salty like they were. He wanted them to come out and say, well, I don't know. And he wouldn't do that. Yeah, she didn't call him a Muslim. She called him an Arab. But yes, there were numerous examples. That was probably the most stark on the campaign trail of McCain fighting against this new wave of voraciously racist conservatism. And this, they were doing this town hall meeting shit, and this lady had the fucking thing, and she said, Mr. McCain, I'm very afraid for our country. Obama, he's not an American. He's an Arab. And he reached out and snatched that fucking mic back from her, and he said, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. He's not an Arab. He's an American, and he cares about this country. No, ma'am. Like, you're never going to see that again. And I ain't even trying to puff up John McCain. John McCain was a warmonger and old crust fucking crypt keeper piece of shit. But when you're talking about like a politician that at the very least realized, like, okay, you know. Yeah, them days are over. The days of the fucking, honorable concession or whatever the fuck. The days of politicians going like, all right, let's let the country move on from this. It's been a contentious election. Let's do everything we can to fucking establish a little civility here and let people fucking, you know what I mean? No, that's gone. Now it's the opposite. Now you're encouraged to have no civility. The power of nightmares. So it was that the politicians with the greatest nightmares became the most popular. Do you think it'll ever go back? I don't know. Probably not. I don't know. Not my president and not the president are two different things. Come on, Ann Prim Paul. Come on, Ann Prim Paul. Trump is a Russian agent. I was even engaging in this shit. I fell for a lot of this shit in the early days of the Trump presidency. It looked like Trump was all up in Russia's ass. People were going down left and right. And the lefty fucking tagline was, Trump's a Russian agent. He is. See, there's the problem. There's your problem. Now we've discovered the problem of hypocrisy in your position. Now we've discovered it. Trump spurred on an insurrection, though. Trump spurred on an insurrection, thou. Who's yelling? There are people that live in my neighborhood. It's summer and people are walking around. People are riding their quads and stuff. I want to get a quad and ride it around. First election I was old enough to vote in was Clinton versus Dole. I voted Perot because I thought it was an FU to both parties. Even then, I was young. Yeah, Perot, I remember, was a... Perot, as goofy looking and weird as he was, had a strong contingent of like disenfranchised young people that voted for him for the very same reasons that no confidence exists. Because even then, people were starting to see the writing on the wall. They were starting to see the ping pong game that was being played, and they were starting to see the patterns inherent in the left-right dichotomy. And here comes Ross Perot, you know what I mean? This outside the beltway guy who can't be bought because he's already bought and paid for. He's a billionaire, a self-made billionaire. Right? You're voting no confidence, good for you. Make sure you tell everybody. Well, Trump, see, here's the thing, though, dude. You say your grandpa was a fan of his, now he votes Trump. Let me explain something to you, though. Trump got elected on that same sentiment. You need to understand why Trump got elected, all right? And there's a lot of people who don't want to face up to the facts on that. Here's why Trump got elected. 100%. Trump got elected because he did not sound and act like a politician. I want you to really fucking think about that. You think I'm oversimplifying? I'm not. Trump got elected because he did not look or sound like a politician. He used his position as a quote-unquote businessman, just like Perot did, to paint himself as an outside the beltway politician that wasn't going to play party football, that was going to go against his own party, he was going to go against the Democrat, he was going to blaze a trail for American people. That was make America great again. That was his fucking thing, right? That's how he got elected. Fake populism. How do you expect no confidence to gain any traction? It's clear that any form of peaceful revolution is moot. Most Americans are sleeping. All right, well, I guess I'll just roll over and give up then. I mean, is that what you're saying I should do? Let me throw a question back at you, and honestly, in good faith, are you saying that I should roll over and just kind of kick the can, or what? So because most Americans are asleep, because most Americans aren't voting for their best interest, because most Americans aren't willing to pay attention to this, that, or the other thing, right? I should just give up trying? I've never said violent revolution, and get a profile pic before you come back. You're timed out. I don't want to see you again, and I don't want to see your F again. Might not want to post for the rest of this because I'll ban you if I see that F again. He has a profile pic. Okay, he doesn't have a PFP on my end. I'll unhide him. I'll unhide him. I trust my mods. I guess that sometimes they can, as long as somebody's trying, as long as my mods will tell me that somebody's actually made a good faith effort to do it, then I know it takes a while to show up for different people. So there's that. My apologies, Fuse. There's an old expression about we're not here to reinvent the wheel. What are your thoughts? Huh? As it pertains to what? That idiom can pertain to a number of different situations. Yeah, YouTube has been a little fucky today from what I've seen. It was a little fucky for me earlier this morning, too. Something must be going on with old YouTube, huh? Ah. Ah. Excuse me. Yeah, dude, if Spotify launches like a vlogging feature, or a podcasting feature, or whatever with video and shit, and lets you do streams like this live for your followers and shit, I'd dump the fuck out of this platform. I'd put all my Beauregard shit there, and I would move this whole fucking thing. Yeah, no crypto talk. You're not going to inject crypto talk tonight. I'm not a crypto nerd. I don't know anything about it. I'm not interested in it. So, God, there's probably like 55 fucking dorky dudes streaming like Crypto Weekly like right now. Go fucking find that shit. Don't fucking even start it in my shit. I don't want to hear your crypto shit. Do you think states are a net positive or a net negative? Are you talking states on the United States level within the United States, or are you talking states as in right? Different international entities. These questions, man, you guys got to be specific when you ask questions. Like, what are you talking about? Within the United States or nation states? Do I think nation states are a net positive or a net negative? A net negative. By any metric that affects us. Environmentally, economically, from the perspective of peace and war, from the perspective of exploitation, from the perspective of ecological downturns, from the perspective of speciation, it's all bad. It's a net negative. Us pretending like we live on different chunks of a different planet or some shit, like we still live in fucking 1400, right? It serves nothing. It serves nothing positive in the world. Imagine there's no countries. It's not that hard to do. See, this is an idea that is vehemently opposed by the power structure on this planet that wants to keep using you and I as chess pieces in their little fucking board game that allows them to reap the mass benefit from all of the fucking natural resources of this planet. It's no more fucking like complicated than that, folks. That is not an oversimplification. The idea of nation states exists in the modern age to prop up a few fucking rich families. And this idea that we're not all, we live in a fucking global economy now. We live in a globally connected world. And yet there is absolutely no overture being made towards unifying that world under one banner because people consider their little part of land a fiefdom. When I say people, I don't mean the people that live in those places necessarily, although they do support it nationalistically. Nationalism is a fucking poison. Speaking of nation states, Israel, don't get me fucking started on Israel. Please. I don't want to get banned. I don't want to get banned off this website. Let me tell you what the fucking Israel game is. Here's the Israel game. Fuck with people, bulldoze their houses, harass them in their neighborhoods. Some of them get mad and do violence towards you. Then the media starts covering it. Then it's Hamas or Palestinian extremists kill IDF forces at checkpoint or some shit. And then you brutalize the people. It's like a bully that like shoves a little nerd kid until the nerd kid finally goes like, fuck you, man, and takes a swing, and then uses that as a pretext to stomp a mud hole in the kid and go like, I was defending myself, bro. Same thing, but on an international fucking scale. And instead of somebody getting their ass kicked by a bully, it's a bunch of children and a bunch of people getting killed in the streets. Getting blown up by airstrikes in their own fucking country. It's crazy how when Israel police brutalize Palestinians, the U.S. state agents come out on TV and Twitter to defend Israel. No, of course they do. Because Israel is seen as a foothold of Western ideals in the Middle East. And that's how it's treated. It's a chess piece. And the brown people that live on the Gaza Strip, whose homes get bulldozed under so that condos can be built for rich Israeli settlers to live in, they're just scum. They have no claim to the land that they were born on. Of course they do. Notice how Western colonial powers all support the Israeli colonial state. Of course they do. And not just materially, not just in a right to exist way, but militarily, materially, when it comes to excusing these atrocities and covering only the retaliations of Palestinians to make them look like the aggressors. Oh yeah, we give billions of Israel. We've made Israel a nuclear state. Shh, don't tell anybody that. Nobody's supposed to know that, but everybody kind of knows that. We gave them nukes or helped them to develop them. We put a nuclear power in the middle of the fucking Middle East. Okay? Sorry about the sniffles. The spring sprung kind of thing has truly kicked in for me, and my fucking allergies are off the charts. I'm thinking about like going in and talking to my doctor about it, maybe getting on the fucking inhaler or some shit, some nose spray or something. It's just fucking miserable. Look at me. I'm all fucking puffy and shit. My eyes are all fucking itchy. It sucks. Anyway, yeah. Within the Jewish community, they have preached an admixture of ultranationalism, religious mysticism, and racial superiority. Yes. I've tried a neti pot. Yeah, I just hate them, dude. I hate how they feel. And they don't really do a whole ton for me. A little bit of shit will come out, but it'll come right back. Yeah, dude. I need to be a bubble boy. Hermetically sealed 0G environment. Hey, Paul, finally watched Shining. I interpreted it as the gaslighting of the average Joe by society until he breaks. Interesting. I hate people playing both sides of the narrative on this. If your land and home was taken, your children killed, would you not fight back? Yeah. No. This is typical American-centric thinking, right? You see how easy it is for us to look at a bunch of brown people that actually have claim to land and then a bunch of ostensibly white people and support them colonially and slowly but surely pushing those people off the land and destroying what's left of their communities? Why would America support such a thing? Why would it be easy for America to support such a thing? Oh, that's right, manifest destiny. That's what we did to the Native Americans. Exactly. Not just America's MO, the entire West. Look at the history of European colonialism and get back to me. The West is an entirely colonial existence. And even now, in times where things have settled kind of geopolitically, we still have that colonial mindset where it is somehow part of our manifest destiny to take land or support the taking of land by some other country. Have you seen what's going on in Israel, Palestine, and shit?
I don't know, to me, just with what I've looked into, it seems like an unsolvable issue that's just gonna ebb and flow for eternity.
It is. And the reason that the issue exists is because of the appropriation of what was at that point in time and had been for hundreds of years, Middle Eastern land, for the creation of a new ethno-state.
And, fucking Syria thinks Israel should be wiped off the map. We're already bombing Syria.
Is fucking Iran and
Egypt's probably super close.
There's really like very few powers in the Middle East that are even on semi-friendly terms with Israel. Most of them are just kind of like not openly hostile, but there are a few nations, Libya, that are just openly fucking hostile to the existence of it. And this is why. Because they bomb the fuck out of people that look just like them, bulldoze their homes to the fucking ground. But you're right about this being an unsolvable problem. It's entangled with religion.
Yeah, because it's supposed to be a biblical prophecy that Jews are on the Holy Land for whatever the fuck.
Jews literally believe that Saul's original temple is the foundation upon which the Al-Aqsa Mosque was built. So the Wailing Wall is the wall that used to be around the temple that was inside that the Turks or whatever, when they conquered fucking ancient Israel, put the Al-Aqsa Mosque there. That switched back and forth between a church, a Jewish temple, and a mosque during all these wars and shit. And it now currently is one of the holiest sites in Islam. It's considered to be the site where Allah ascended to heaven.
Or Muhammad?
Muhammad. Yeah. Where Muhammad ascended to heaven on a fiery chariot. So it's like the second holiest site in Islam after the Kaaba.
And then fucking Palestine is such a pressure cooker because they've confined them to such a small space that, of course, their terrorism has become super...
Well, I was talking about that. It's like Israel pokes at them and pushes them, confines them, pushes them into ever smaller, ghettoizes their neighborhoods, bulldozes their homes, rocket attacks their fucking homes, and then moves Israeli settlers in and walls off what used to be their homes. And then some of them get pissed off and throw rocks or shoot missiles into the fucking country, and then the media starts covering it.
Yeah. And then
on step 3.
They justify them encroaching on even more land as buffer zones because they've been radicalized so much by all this pressure.
And they need more room.
Yeah.
As more ethnic Jews flock to Israel to live in the Israeli ethno-state, they need room for these rich fucks. These rich people can't just live, there's no more room in the good spots. You got to make new good spots, which means you've got to come up with a fucking reason to seize land that isn't Israel's.
And then you have Jordan right next to it, which is basically just a fucking giant refugee camp at this point.
It's a total fucking disaster.
And I think both sides at this point are so fucking hostile to each other that no compromise would ever be enough.
Yeah. And you would think, why can't they just build 2 buildings on that land? Have the Al-Aqsa Mosque, have a Jewish prayer temple there, big beautiful thing standing right next to the mosque. Jews go in one.
Allow Palestinians into the fucking city center.
They do. Yeah. They allow. That's Palestine. One of the only reasons that Palestinians are still allowed into Jerusalem proper is to visit the Al-Aqsa Mosque. It's considered to be like a spot. It's the reason that they had the first and second Intifada back in like the 80s and 90s. because they tried to cut off their fucking access to the Al-Aqsa Mosque. So on that little patch of land near the city center, Palestinians have authority, and Jews aren't allowed in. They're not allowed to visibly pray. They're allowed to walk the grounds. But if they're praying or anything,
they build the other temple for the Jews, and they're going to see them as too close, because now it's going to be a target. So.
It's just ridiculous that there can't be a two-state solution to this. And all it is like there's so much religious intentionality behind it. Like one of the reasons why, and this isn't really why it's supported geopolitically by politicians, but one of the reasons why so many people in America are supportive of the way that America coddles Israel and supports Israel's atrocities is because they believe that fucking Jesus is going to come back there.
Well, I mean, I think politicians are in on that prophecy too. I think that's...
Maybe some of them, I think most of them are using it cynically, and they realize that because Israel can't simultaneously be a hotspot for prophecy and a geopolitical diamond. You know what I mean? I think that most politicians that make that argument make it cynically and really support the state of Israel because it's a fucking friendly government in an area of the world that we want to exploit. It's a foothold for Western tradition, Western ideals, and Western colonialism in an area that we previously have had to go to war with to deal with.
I don't know. I don't think any further intervention is going to make it any fucking better.
No.
Like, that's, I think, the problem with it being like, oh, let's all save the Palestinians. It's like, fuck, it's a fucking hornet's nest, and it doesn't need another fucking dick in it any deeper.
I mean, I gotta say this. I think if the international community came together and forced a ceasefire between these nations, and NATO enforced it, but not just a one-sided ceasefire where NATO shows up to help Palestinians patrol, or to help Israelis patrol Palestinian neighborhoods. We're talking about a complete and utter ceasing of the seizing of land in the Gaza Strip by Israel. No more seizing of Palestinian homes, no more seizing of regions, enforced by the international community. I think that if enough pressure was placed on both of these nations, to come up with a fucking solution that doesn't involve constant atrocity with one another, it could be done. But there is no mechanism in place that is going to place that type of pressure on either of these entities yet. It just doesn't exist. I'm pretty sure this is the start of World War III. See, that's the thing, dude. There's so many.
Hot for fucking, I don't know, like 80 years.
Yep. Since before you were born, guaranteed. My whole life. So here's the truth of it, dude. This could be, but there are like 2 or 3 regions right now that could be the start of World War III. If I were you, I would keep a real close eye on the border between India and China. That's World War III waiting to fucking happen. India is a close ally of America. China is geopolitically allied against us. We have a huge naval buildup in the South China Sea right now as a result of us posturing against China. Keep your eyes on the borders of China. Because you want to know when World War III is going to pop off? That'll be it. In my opinion.
I honestly I don't think the world cares enough about Israel and Palestine for it to fucking cause World War III.
I mean, it does. Here's the thing. We've all got, like, the whole West has its dick in the Israeli beehive.
Yeah.
The reason that Israel was able to just suddenly appear.
But I mean, like, who's got the nukes, Israel or Palestine? If Israel fucking nukes Palestine, I don't think enough people are going to care.
I mean, the international community would fucking flip shit if Israel nuked Palestine.
You think?
Oh, fuck yes. I don't know exactly what would fucking come of it, but if anybody nuked anybody right now, there would be immediate war. You don't fucking launch nukes. Only America gets to launch nukes. We're still the only fucking country that's used that offensively in war. It's not allowed. It doesn't matter who's doing it. The only way that Israel would launch a nuke would be if things got hot enough there for the United States to commit to a hot war there. And say, like, look, it's Israel is fucking Palestine is encroaching on Israel, Jordan is encroaching on Israel, Libya is encroaching on Israel, fucking Iran is saber rattling. It's time for us to go bring peace and stability to this fucking region. Russia would be supplying the other side of that. China would be supplying part of the other side of that. It would be World War III, just to protect the nation state of Israel. So that is the danger of Israel, because there's no fucking strategic advantage for the average person here in America to giving billions of dollars to Israel. But it's strategically absolute. It's like the capstone in our crown in the Middle East in terms of like geopolitical positioning. So we're not going to give it up ever, which means that there's never going to be a solution to this, which means that Israel will slowly but surely push the Gaza Strip into the ocean. And the more atrocious that becomes, the more likely other nation states surrounding Israel are to try and intervene and declare war. And then you've got World War III. Because then NATO is going to declare war on all these other nation states. It's going to send troops to defend. We're immediately going to be involved. We're already involved. We've got bases all over Israel. So you got that. You got India is actually a really, really dangerous nation right now. Well, not necessarily. I'm not trying to say it's at fault for this, but India versus Pakistan has been something that we just got tired of hearing about, but never got solved. Pakistan, by the way, another nuclear nation. So you got nukes in India, nukes in Pakistan, nukes in China. You've got that area being geopolitically so fucking important. China wants it so bad. China wants to annex the entire peninsula of India so that it can control the entirety of trade through that port and extend its border all the way to the South China Sea. You guys don't get it, dude. This is fucking... This is real deal Holyfield shit. This is not a joke. Do you really think China wants to annex India? Abso-fucking-lutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. Do you really think they don't? Demographic pressure, right? India's population is just exploding. China's population is exploding. These are both developing nations. They're at each other's throats. I've long believed the Kashmir conflict, combined with Israel-Palestine conflict and China and Russians' Middle East interventions, could easily spiral into a new world war. I mean, there are people that say that we're already involved in World War III. India is a hugely strategic area of the world, sits on a ton of natural resource, buffers an entire fucking area of the body of water that it extends into. It's a hugely strategically important place. Not just trading ports, water access, control of the flow of fucking commerce and military vehicles through the South China Sea. Where does Russia fit into all this? Russia is a neighboring nation of China and a fellow communist state. They have their fucking differences, but who do you think they're going to ally with? Meanwhile, another hot spot for possible World War III is Africa. China has slowly been buying up ports in Africa. So China has made huge investments in the African continent, and the African continent is one of the few unspoiled fucking environments left on the planet. When it comes to mass exploitation, mass machine exploitation, modern infrastructural exploitation, Africa is like one of the last untouched diamonds on the planet.
Well, not like
not actual diamond, not untouched completely, but untapped.
Yeah.
Largely because a lot of these countries don't have fucking mass heavy industry.
Yeah.
Hello? What do you think that's about? See, this is all about resources. Everything's about how much there is here and what piece of it we get. We want iron, we want steel, we want coltan, we want diamonds, we want gold. We need all these things for our fucking electronics, to run our economy. We need oil. We need fresh water. We need all of these things to run our economy and support our cities. China needs the same things. Russia needs the same things. India needs the same things. Israel and Palestine both need the same things. You understand now? You get it? We're about to squabble for the last little bit of what's left. And where and how that starts doesn't even really matter. There's a number of possibilities in my mind where it could start any moment. I just laid out a couple of them for you. But that's what it's over. You're starting to see nation states posturing against one another, preparing for the coming resource wars, preparing themselves to squabble over what little bit is left on this planet. And make no bones about it, they will. You don't have to take my fucking word for it. Your vice president stood in front of a fucking group of people and told them about it. We've been fighting wars for oil for generations. Number one, a stunning admission by an American politician at her level. We've never in America admitted that we have gone into the Middle East for oil. She just basically blew away all the pretext for the fucking Iraq invasion. Wars have been fought for oil for generations, and very soon wars will be fought for water. China's population is expected to decline heavily by the end of the century. I wonder what they'll do about it. Russia's also just a paper tiger now. I mean, say what you want. The combined forces of these places, underestimate these places at your own fucking peril. Because you say they're a paper tiger, but what are you going to do about them? Is America really going to commit the balance of its fucking forces to go over to Russia and conquer city by city? Or China? Or both? If they ally together? China has more nukes than the United States does, by the way. So let's define paper tiger a little differently. Or I'm sorry, Russia has more nukes. China has nukes as well. I don't consider that a paper tiger.
You getting hungry at all or no?
I'm actually fine, but...
Okay, I'm going to heat up a bowl for myself.
Yeah. Thank you, baby, for asking.
Come in, Dee. You sure you don't want nothing?
I'm positive. Thank you, though, baby. China and Russia stomped cyber warfare is a whole different thing, right? Asymmetrical warfare, digital fucking warfare, all this shit. Like, it all factors into this modern conflict we're talking about. It's not going to be like fucking World War II. People always want to compare it. Russia and China both suffering from demographic decline. So is the United States, by the way, which makes them more dangerous. Best way to gain a new labor force is to take it. Right. Anyway. Doom streaming tonight, I suppose. What are you going to do? I wonder if China will eventually become more democratic after they industrialize. There could be uprisings. Who the fuck knows, bro? The Doomer. The Doomer, man. Paul the Doomer. Doom streaming the night away. China isn't a fan of democracy, as we've already seen in Hong Kong. No. No, China is not a fan of democracy. You miss not being constantly disgusted and exhausted with life. I know this is not like me trying to be blithe or something, but try going outside. Why do you guys think I sit out here? All of the natural sounds that I can hear, all the crickets, the peacock calls, the owls, the dogs barking in the distance, all of that reminds me that I'm oh so very small. Don't talk about my fucking mental health, dude, please. Don't fucking tell me that I should go do this or go do that for my mental health, bro. You're not my fucking doctor. You're not my mom. I don't need your fucking concern. I'm a grown-ass person. You don't know what I do in my fucking off time or where I go unless I tell you. Well, I'm not coming to you, am I, Kyle, and going like, dude, I think you really ought to take like a mental health trip, bro. Like, what makes you think that? What makes you think that I want that from you if you don't want it from me? Let's have a little humility when you're fucking talking to me. You don't know me. and I don't want to pile on you anymore. This is not about you anymore. But to talk about this, like unsolicited advice, just so you know, is almost never welcomed in any fucking context, dude. I want you to think about it. Not just you, but everybody else that's fucking in here, anybody that does this shit. I really want you to think about it. Think about how you would react if somebody walked up to you and was like, hey, dude, you should try a diet. You should go for a walk. Oh, man, you look pretty run down. You should take a camping trip. It'll be good for your mental health. Like, never. You'd be like, fuck off. Even if you didn't say it, you'd be thinking it. So don't do it to me. Yeah, I get mad too, Ingrid. It makes me angry when people fucking come in here and treat me like I'm a kid. Like, if there's one thing in the world that I feel like I've earned, it's to be treated as a fucking adult. I've lived on my own since I was 19. I've paid my own bills and my own taxes since I was 19 years old. I've never taken a fucking handout. I've been employed for the entirety of my life. Own my own business. Like, give me what I got at least. They're coming to take me away, haha. They're coming to take me away, ho ho. Like, dude, no, dude. I get mental health help from professionals in my private life. I don't live stream that. I don't come here to hear what I need to do for this, that, or the other about my fucking mental health, bro. A fire, yeah. That's what it sounds like. It's heading out even further into the country, so it's probably a fire out in the fucking field somewhere. I don't see any smoke against the sunset here. It's definitely a fire truck. With mental health specifically, I feel like lots of people let it define you more than you do. It's like you reveal the stuff to people and everything about you is viewed through that lens forever. Sure, that's my bad, but I felt it was important to be upfront with people about the things I suffer from because I know a lot of fucking people suffer from the same shit. And I know that it helps me to know that I'm not alone, that depression is not something that I'm alone in, and anxiety is not something I'm alone in, and PTSD is not something I'm alone in. And so I tell people about how I suffer from these things and what it's like to suffer from these things, and in an attempt to just build a general sense of empathy for people who suffer with it. And you're right. There are people that will never, ever be able to look at me without looking through whatever their conceptual lens of my mental problems are. It comes up every fucking time I argue with people in my community or I say something controversial. There will be a screed somewhere about how Paul's entire fucking life is dictated by his depression, and Paul's entire outlook is nothing but his depression taking over his rational mind. And it's just like, fuck you. I bet some of the people that make those have diagnosed mental illnesses too. That's the fucked up part of it. Some of the people that make those screeds against me are diagnosed themselves. Probably with some of the same shit I've got. They just don't share it. How fucked up is that? Yeah, dude, I pay fucking professionals for my psychoanalysis. And it's like, what a way to fucking spank somebody, slap somebody on the fucking hand, you know what I mean, for being honest about themselves. People hate that shit, though. That's the truth, too. I'll be honest with you guys. Like, there are people, and it doesn't even matter if it's about, like, fucking honesty fucks them up. It doesn't matter if it's about mental health or your past or, you know, whatever it is that you're honest, like watching somebody be somewhat radically honest about themselves makes them deeply, 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 deeply uncomfortable. Deeply. Because it's something they can't do. Because in their lives, and this is just the truth, there are some people whose entire lives are a persona. They can't be honest about themselves, and they see somebody delving into that part of themselves and being honest about themselves, and they can't fucking take it. I rub a ton of people the wrong way. I really do, because I don't hold back my opinions on things. Very direct. If there's a problem brewing, I go straight to the fucking meat of it. I'm willing to talk about myself very candidly if it comes up contextually. I don't pretend to be something that I am not. And that's abrasive to people. Is what it is, I guess, yeah. I'd rather be abrasive than fucking bowing and scraping or pretending. It's like you said, I feel deep down it's rooted in cowardice. Maybe so. Pretending takes too much effort. You're right, Ingrid. You were right about that. Well, it's easy to say that, R-dubs. Harder to live it, but I would recommend you live that life if you're not. You go seeking for tribalistic fake love from people, and that's what you'll get your whole fucking life. That's what you'll get. You go seeking for yourself, and that's what you'll get. Don't let your life be fucking defined by pursuit of other people's love, affection, or acceptance. Don't let other people's acknowledgement drive what you do. Look at pushback as an opportunity to shut somebody up. Learn to take your own back. Learn to be unapologetically who and what you are. The best of your ability. See, the fucked up thing is, I'm not abrasive to the point, like, dude, I went to a fucking thing. I drove on Mother's Day and went to a fucking thing with a bunch of my family, right? And I wasn't like an abrasive presence at that. I was a cool dude. I swam, got to see all my nieces and nephews. I swam with them. I ate a hot dog. I sat around in the sun. I talked shit. Had a good time, laughed with all my family. I think there's people that think that I'm 24/7, like in a political argument or some shit. You know, I'm a pretty mellow guy 99% of the fucking time. But I don't really think that it's the times that I get salty or abrasive that make people so uncomfortable. I think it's the honesty. Yeah, we talked about Israel. You can wind it back. Got the DVR thing turned on so you can rewind the stream if you so desire and watch that shit. People need to realize that people ultimately are complex, and if you had the opportunity to be around them 24/7, you'd see it. Sure. Sure. I'm reading a really good book right now called Death in the Haymarket about one of the earliest labor movements in United States history. It's actually at a time when Marx and Engels were still alive and socialism was being practiced under their guidance in the form of the International, which was supposed to be a giant international union. But the United States labor movement didn't like the fact that it was exclusively a men's workers movement. And so they broke with Marx and Engels' tradition and included women. It's a time during the Civil War a lot of people don't know about, because the Civil War was such a shadow that hung on the country. A lot of people don't know that the labor movement in America started in earnest during this time as well. And Death in the Haymarket is a story about that. It covers the entirety of a giant incident in Chicago, a bombing. This wasn't America doing it. This was the American labor movement. This was the people in America. This was socialists in America openly organizing labor and being beaten in the streets for it and fighting for it every fucking way and going up against the actual politicians and robber barons that were taking money out of their pockets. It's a pretty good read. It's pretty dense. It's filled with a lot of names and a lot of dates and a lot of descriptions of events and a lot of background information and a lot of different characters and stuff. If you have a hard time following really dense works, I wouldn't recommend it, but it's a really, so far, I'm about 4 chapters into it. It's a really good examination of the early labor movement in America. It's called Death in the Haymarket. It's about Chicago in the run-up to, during, and after the Civil War, but it's about the labor movement, really. Sounds really interesting. Might want to check it out. Yeah, you can get it on Audible too. That's the way I'm doing it. I have planned to order a hard copy of it because I want to mark it up. Like, I want to go back through and take notes. But right now I'm listening to it on Audible. Kind of as I go to sleep, I'll listen to a chapter and then I'll pass out and I'll listen to the next chapter that next night. And it's been really interesting so far. So. Oh my God, yeah. Chicago is a super duper rich history one of the very earliest labor hubs in America. Dude. By the way, Death in the Haymarket really undercuts the argument that, and I don't mean to fucking invoke the name of Vosh, but it really undercuts the argument that Vosh tried to make that Marx and Engels would have supported voting for the bourgeois party. It's very, very explicit. Like, this takes place at the time when Marx and Engels were still alive and not just theoretical figures in the history of international socialism, but they were actually putting into practice what they preached, and they were vehemently against the participation of, like, socialist participation in voting for the bourgeoisie party. It's underlined so many fucking times in this book. And this was like literally Marx and Engels giving orders to the International. Ooh. Like I said, I don't mean to fucking Vosh invoke, but that shit right, like, just the first 4 chapters of this book will undercut that in your mind immediately. Rice Rocket. I think Marx was crazy, and people who follow what he believes are crazy, because crazy people, oh my God. Wow, dude. Dude, that's a deep take right there. That's a hot take, looking like a hot cake coming up hot out the griddle right there. Shut up. The first cut is the deepest. Baby, I know. You're gonna have to try to love again. Sure, Paul, but you don't have a plan. Sarcasm. Yeah, I know. Total planless. Who doesn't love that song, Kelsey? I don't want to meet anybody who doesn't love that song. You're honored they crazy, though. Yeah. Death in the Haymarket, A Story of Chicago, the First Labor Movement, and the Bombing That Divided Gilded Age America. Yeah, pretty wordy full title. Hanging round downtown by myself, and I've got so much time to sit and think about myself. And then there she was, in platform double suede. Yeah, there she was, like disco lemonade. I smell sex and candy here. Who's that lounging in my chair? Who's that casting devious stares in my direction? Mama, this surely is a dream. Hanging around downtown by myself, and I've had too much caffeine, and I was thinking about myself, and then there she was. There she was, like double cherry pie. Yeah, there she was, like disco superfly.
I'm glad you're embracing those sunglasses.
Dude, I think they look kind of dope on me.
They do. You were all worried you were gonna stretch them out too. It's
Hey, hey.
They're fine.
I gotta look at some ladies' Gucci sunglasses or some shit, dude.
Well, these are. What are these again? These are 9 West.
9 West, ooh, hot shit. Money.
Dude, you know what freaks me the fuck out? When those mockingbirds imitate cats. That sounds so fucking creepy.
It's creepy when they do the rooster too.
Yeah.
Because it's a rooster, but it's not. It sounds like an alien out there going,
Yeah.
"Arr!"
Yeah, but it's just like the cats are especially weird because cats
Yeah,
call like that. They don't do it a bunch of
It's-
times in a row.
yeah, it's weird, dude. It's very strange. Oh yeah, that Barrett annihilation that could like imitate all the different animals and shit, but it didn't quite sound right. I know deer will occasionally come to the area that I'm in, but only so very occasionally. They're more like, they're thicker in the foothills, but we're right on the border of some foothills. So I saw a scrub jay attack a mockingbird nest. Nature wars, yep. Nah, dude, I'm telling you, scrub jays will fuck up a mockingbird. Like, I've seen them fighting and squabbling over there with different kinds of birds and each other. They're angsty little birds. Seen them dive bombing the red tails. I think the red tails have moved up into the foothills now, unfortunately. I haven't seen them for days and days and days, and it's very unusual that I won't see them. So, which is, you know, it's totally what they do. Like, as the summer happens and the spring melt happens, where all the life is where they go, you know? And so they move up into the foothills and up closer to the mountains, to the base of the mountains and shit. So they'll probably be back this way in the winter to roost. But yeah, I haven't seen them for days and days and days. And that's something that's like, I've seen them every day forever, so. Here's some dosh as penance for my off-topic question. It's just kind of blurted out because I had the focal power of a coked up gnat. Don't worry about it. I don't even remember you doing an off-topic question. We were having fun. You don't have to pay penance. It's all good. Some dosh, dude. Fucking Brits. Goddamn fucking tea sippers. We'll brew you up some tea if you want. Throw it right in the fucking harbor. Have ourselves a little tea patty. Here's some dosh. Oh, no. Yeah, I think I odd-duded for some other reason. Well, whatever. Here's some dosh, my friend. Can you spare some cutter, me brother? All of a sudden, my brothers, I was surrounded by filthy old burbling drunky wonkies. But I could not fight back, because you see, the sickness rose up. I love that fucking movie, dude. I haven't watched that movie in too long. I need to watch me some Clockwork Orange. It's definitely one of those movies, like, most Kubrick movies are in my movies I'm obsessed with and will watch ultimately a million times, kind of like hip pocket. Not all of them, but most Kubrick films are in that for me. Like, I can watch The Shining once or twice a year and really get a lot out of it. Every once in a while, even see some shit or notice some shit about it that I hadn't noticed before. That's what I love about Kubrick, though. That's my favorite thing about watching Kubrick films, is that, like, no matter how many times I watch them, I always see something I didn't see before and notice a little side thing that I hadn't paid attention to before. Almost always. So, Full Metal Jacket is on that list. Clockwork Orange. The Shining. Barry Lyndon. I don't know what TJ doesn't like war movies. It's not my job to like force him to watch some shit that he doesn't want to watch. You know what I mean? Ultimately, like, I really honestly don't look at Full Metal Jacket as necessarily a typical war movie, but TJ does. It's got a lot of war movie stuff in it, but I think that type of stuff, like, TJ doesn't like watching it. He says he's bored by it. He doesn't like military movies like Platoon, and he's just turned off. And I, like, look, dude, I can understand, like, it's, if he's not interested in the military in the way that maybe I was when I was a little kid. You know what I mean? Maybe that's what it's rooted in. When I was a little kid, it's not like I worshiped the military or whatever, but
Get it?
no, I'll get it, baby. I wanted to, like, you know, rat-a-tat-tat, be a soldier. Shoot guns, be a military guy, fly cool helicopters and shit. And
like, fuck that, too much work.
Yeah, maybe he looked at that and he was like, duh, that's dorky, or whatever, I don't know. Well, like, it was very common for little boys in America to have that. Especially back in my time, a lot of my heroes were that, you know, like G.I. Joe was a whole show about a military group that was always fighting evil. Right. Some people just don't like Westerns. Sure. I love them, but I love pretty much any movie as long as it's a good movie. But some people have these, like, I don't really like this setting. I don't like the conceits of this genre. What am I going to do? Strangle those people and, like, force them at gunpoint to watch my shit? Or the shit that I think is good? No. I will tell you this, like, a lot of the movies that I've shown to Amelia, she's agreed are really good flicks. You know what I mean? So
You just get so sad when I don't.
it's just, it's hard for me to conceive of seeing a movie because, like, all of the movies that I show you, the first time I saw them
Yeah.
was like, yeah.
I mean,
Maybe
I don't
not
think
all
I've
of them,
ever
but
like hated one, but like if I'm even like slightly like meh, you're like, oh.
yeah, I mean, whatever. It just, different strokes, different folks. She wasn't into what's the one that we tried to watch that you just weren't feeling? Gangs of New York.
Yeah.
She wasn't feeling it. I was like, what? But Bill the Butcher. I've seen Seven Samurai. It's one of the only 2 Kurosawa films that I've seen. But yes, I've seen Seven Samurai. Two or three. That's kind of how watching Dead Ringers was for me. I like the performances all around, but I couldn't relate to the characters. It's supposed to be a descent into madness, but they were always a pair of tweaked out, narcissistic, misogynistic assholes. I mean, yeah. I don't know. Just goes to show you, people see things different way. I mean, I saw that for the first time with Amelia, and we both really liked it.
And we just stumbled on it. We didn't hear anything about it from anyone else.
Yeah, we were just bored and flipping through, and I got tired of seeing it come up over and over again. I saw it was a Cronenberg movie, and I was like, let's take a shot at this. And we sat and watched it with fresh eyes and no expectations, and both of us were like, whoa. That was a really creepy, well-made, dialogue-driven kind of film. They should just put Daniel Day-Lewis in every film. No, they shouldn't. Daniel Day-Lewis and Weekend at Bernie's. Dude, I wonder if somebody's going to be edgy enough after Bernie Sanders croaks to do Weekend at Bernie's 3, but make him like an old dude in mittens, that they're carrying around and trying to pretend he's alive. I wonder if anybody will do it, dude. I wonder if it'll be always too soon, or if somebody will capitalize immediately and make Weekend at Bernie's 3. You never know, you know what I mean? How the rules are going to fucking pan out. Sometimes, like, people don't want to do that immediately. But I know both the dudes that were in Weekend at Bernie's are still alive. Like, the guys that weren't the corpses, you know what I mean? I think, actually, ironically, the dude that played the corpse of Bernie is now dead. But the guys that played the main characters are not. I guarantee you neither one of them would be adverse to taking work.
No, he's still alive.
Oh, is he? Bernie is still alive? Damn.
He's 81. That's not that old.
Still pretty fucking old. I thought I'd heard he'd passed away.
Maybe the second Bernie did. I don't know.
Well, he was the same guy.
Oh, yeah.
In both the movies. Implausibly.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same corpse in both movies. In the second one, they have it like his corpse frozen or whatever because he's a rich guy, and they steal it and they take him to a fucking tropical island and have a voodoo priestess cast a spell on him that makes him show them where a treasure is buried. There's some treasure that Bernie buried out there, and only he knows where it is, and they can't talk to him because he's just a dead body. So they follow him around, and like every time he hears like island music, he starts dancing and like walking towards the treasure, and they have to follow him around. Real wacky concept. We'd have to figure out a way to do something like that. Because I don't know if the guys could pull off like having Bernie like be in Congress still. Like, he's got to show up for a vote today. How is he going to show up for a vote today? He's dead. Well, I don't know. We're going to have to figure it out. They rig him up to where he's got like bodyguards or something behind him. He's all tied to them and shit. Objection! They fucking have a stick that's tied to his little mittened hand. Objection! I'm sorry, was that the senator from Vermont? Objection! Sanders delivers brilliant silent filibuster. Yeah, dude. And now a moment of silence for all the people who've been victimized by the system that they believed in. And then they just like fold his little arms up and walk out. He's sitting there with his legs crossed, his little mittens like this, and the whole world is watching. Bernie Sanders' brilliant filibuster tactic has gone for an unprecedented 192 hours straight. Weekend at Bernie's 3. There could be like a little jokey part where like a bird lands near him. And the guys are like, "Oh, look!" Just even because you remember when the bird landed near him, and then the bird starts like pecking at him and eating his flesh, and they're like, "No, no, get out!" You know what I mean? I don't know, dude. Whatever. Weekend at Bernie's 3, dude. Come on, Hollywood. Toss that money at me. I'm your idea man. I got the fresh, funky, fresh ideas. Name any goddamn fucking movie franchise. I'll tell you how to reboot it right now. Boom. I'll give you live pitches on any fucking movie franchise right now. I'll reboot any franchise right now. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, dude. Back to the Future reboot. That's probably the toughest one. Dude, if I was going to reboot that series, I would do like one of those continuation type reboots where it exists in the same universe as the original movies, and maybe even get it licensed to where like we could digitally put people into some of the scenes from the original movies, have them like cross paths with Marty and Doc as they go on their own like time adventure and shit. That'd be pretty dope. And instead of just settling it in one time like the original Back to the Future movies were, just make it like a real weird time hopping fantasy movie that takes advantage of all of the different time streams that the originals took in. Starring Elijah Wood, yeah, I guess. Night of the Living Dead. I mean, that's pretty fucking simple, dude. Like, honestly, I really wouldn't have a problem with Night of the Living Dead being remade. It's such a template film. I feel like the 90s remake of Night of the Living Dead added a whole lot of new stuff. Not all of it good. But, I don't really have a problem. I don't have the, I have a reverence for the original, but I don't have the reverence that, I don't think it's not redoable. The question is do you keep it in the same time frame? Or do you update it and make it a more modern film? I kind of lean towards the latter, honestly. I kind of lean towards, let's take the story, the conception of Night of the Living Dead, and let's modernize it. Let's put it in a modern time. Let's actually put cell phones into this. Let's have the towers go down. Let's have these cell phones be useless. Let's address it that way. Let's allow them to be used to build the dread in the film. Maybe there's one working cell phone, it's still got one bar or whatever out wherever they're trapped. and they call somebody's parents on it, and the parents answer and they're just screaming, running down the street. You know what I mean? Like, use these like modern trappings to build dread. You know, have the internet be on fire with all these different conspiracy theories about what was going on. They have the last phone. No. There's just like, you know, most of the phones don't work, and there's one that barely does, and it's their window on the world or whatever the fuck. The original blockbuster Jaws. Man, if you're going to do something crazy with Jaws, I think you flip the script on Jaws. I really think at this point in time, we could make a movie where Jaws is the dark protagonist of the film. You know what I mean? Where instead of him being the monster and trying to play on that same fear of you're at the beach, something bites you, takes you under, and eats you alive. Instead of going that route, what if Jaws is like, what if you actually want to make a movie where it's like Hardcore Henry, where you see through the eyes of Jaws throughout the entire movie, and any of the fucking dialogue and characters that you hear are just because Jaws is nearby enough in the water to hear these people like fucking like plotting against him and shit. You know, and you can make the conceit that Jaws is a little bit of a mutated shark, like he's a little smarter than he should be, you know what I mean? Tell most of the movie in that POV fucking kind of setting, where you're rooting for Jaws to take different kills and shit. Weird Science. Dude, wouldn't it be cool to do like a totally dark Weird Science reboot? I've thought about Weird Science before, because Weird Science is one of those movies, like, it is what it is, but it didn't age very well, and like, I don't think it really lends itself to a direct remake style reboot. What if you did a Weird Science reboot where it was, you made it dark? It's like these guys threw together this woman, because that's what the original Weird Science is about. They do this fucking experiment that leads to them creating this woman who's their like dream woman, and they get into all these antics trying to explain away her existence to people and yada yada yada, right? And she's in love with both of them, and they're blah blah blah, right? So what if you make it like a modern day Frankenstein type of thing, where it starts off with this kind of maybe goofy veneer of two really brilliant buddies that get together and they're like, dude, fuck trying to like land one of these bimbos at school. Let's just make one. And they do it, and at first maybe she's hot and shit, but of course she hungers for flesh. And they have to hide the fact that at night she turns into this fucking thing that goes out and preys on men. Little Jennifer's Body-esque kind of situation. Do a dark like trap remix of the original song from Weird Science. It's my creation. Is it real, 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 real? You know, yeah, dude. Like, yeah, under the skin, kind of, yeah. She goes out and preys on men. Uses her looks to like get them off in compromising situation, and then District 9. It's a little bit of a new movie to do this to, but okay. Like, if I was gonna reboot District 9, I would do away with the conceit, because like one of the things that District 9 does is it takes this guy Vickis Vandermew, and it turns him into the human perspective from the inside the alien lifestyle. Drop the whole human angle on it. If you're going to reboot District 9, start it with the aliens and show how they came to get so bad that they had to stop on Earth, and were just unable to take care of themselves. Or show the story of the revolution from a different perspective within the alien community. Drop the conceit that we need a more humanized character and just go fucking balls out like, Avatar style, where it's like, fuck the human element of this.
I wouldn't want to change District 9.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I said it's like a newer movie. It's a little harder to do with the newer movies. The newer movies are a little harder to make an argument for rebooting, but I mean, you can still do it. I mean, there are different angles you could take with any concept. Shame we never got into the Halo movie District 9 came from. Did it really? District 9 was supposed to be a Halo movie?
I know that he was supposed to do a Halo movie at one point that just didn't work out.
I see. Yeah, I mean, just like a hard direct reboot of Scream would be totally cool. Scream is another one of those movies that I think could be a template kind of film that's updated generationally. I think if you did Scream right, it would do well. To be honest with you, I think that horror has been on the cusp of coming back as a fucking genre. In fact, to be quite frank with you, I think it came back 5 or 6 years ago and has been really like a kind of underground cult genre hit, just waiting to break big. Like, we need, if you're going to do something like Scream, you've got to update it, right? Scream has got to be updated. So I'm thinking, like, take Scream, mix it with Unfriended, have a killer that uses social media to stalk his victims. Like, there's no way that this guy doesn't know me, you know what I mean? I have my fucking shit on friends only, and he's still able to fucking pop up and blah, 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 this, that, and the other thing, right? I think it could be done. And I think that if they did it showing that they have an intent to not only just cash in one time, but make it an ongoing series, and they cast it and wrote it very well, that these could become like Yas Queen characters, you know what I mean? For the younger generation to latch onto. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, but it's a horror film. Totally easy to do, dude. Would be totally fucking easy to do. I actually thought that that is what Tim Burton was going to do with Willy Wonka. When I first heard that Tim Burton was doing a reboot of Willy Wonka, I was actually super stoked, because if you read the Willy Wonka book, it's not like a horror novel, but it's got a lot of scary shit in it. Like, it's like a spooky fucking thing. And I thought, okay, cool. Maybe he's gonna do this up dark, and have the Chocolate Factory be this kind of dark wonderland kind of thing. No, it'd be super easy to do Willy Wonka as like a psychological horror film. Snowpiercer is kind of like a dark Willy Wonka, yes. I mean, it really is. Definitely has a different fucking setting to it, but I can definitely see the comparison for sure. The banana splits, dude. I was confused by the ending of Snowpiercer. Did the guy die? I haven't seen Snowpiercer in so long. I remember it ending with the guy seeing a bear, which contradicted the idea that there was no life left on the planet, which meant that they were on the train for no reason. And he was like psychologically damaged by that notion.
I don't think I've even seen Snowpiercer.
Yeah, we should watch it. It's interesting.
We both seem to like Parasite by the same director.
Yeah, Parasite, really good. Right? Boon Kyun Ho or whatever.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. It's something like that. Bong Joon Ho. Yeah.
We're bad with all the names.
Yeah, I'm bad with every fucking name. You can't pin this one on me. Okja. I haven't watched it because I just can't get over the fucking little cutesy wootsy Pokemon monster at the center of it. But maybe I'll give it a shot. Did the same guy do Train to Busan as well?
Let's see.
That's a different guy.
He did not.
Another Korean director. Wow. I like that director as well. He's done a couple of. He did that Train to Busan. I'm trying to remember the name of the other one. He's done a couple of really good horror films. Want something to drink, baby?
Sure. I'll have some water, I guess.
Want some water? Pass me my cup there. No bark, no chase.
No bolts.
Nope.
Thank you. The only thing brave enough, I think, to come on the porch all the way was like a raccoon and that kitty cat. And that kitty cat don't care about you.
Frogs.
And frogs, yeah. A dinosaur doesn't care about a frog.
I would love to see At the Mountains of Madness made into a movie. Like, it would have to be a movie that had, or at least paid homage to, Lovecraft's like total anal retentive way of describing everything to the last fucking detail. You'd have to figure out a way to visualize that. It'd be a real high budget film, but it would be great. I really love that story.
What? Are you done already?
He doesn't like them. You don't like them mockingbirds or peacocks or whatever they are.
No. Okay.
You don't like them? I want to go back inside. Are there any movies that really capture Lovecraft? No. I'll just say it straight out, no. There are movies that try. Like, there are movies that try and play on that, like, fucking cosmic horror shit and do better jobs than others. Like, but no. Not really. I mean, the closest I've seen is probably the Color Out of Space adaptation with Nick Cage. Close.
I feel like Neil Asher also writes very, like, nebulous character descriptions and stuff that would be really hard to put into picture.
Very true. That's why, I mean, the covers of Neil Asher's
That's like the only
books.
view you get of it.
And even that is, it's just very abstract and very weird and... Isn't that film a direct adaptation? It's more cognizant of Lovecraft than most of the adaptations of his work are, which is why I mentioned that it's probably the best adaptation of a Lovecraft work that I've seen. But the story differs pretty wildly from the Lovecraft story. I recently have immersed myself in Lovecraft and listened to his entire published bibliography and the whole mythos and all the whole, like, you know, fucking Amelia will back me up. There was like 3 months where I did nothing but fall asleep to Lovecraft and listen to Lovecraft the whole fucking day. I was a Lovecraft crazy fool, but...
It seemed like every time I overheard it, it was that fucking Red Hook story, though. It's like, damn it.
Dude, I was kind of obsessed with that story, the horror at Red Hook, dude. That story is like the Rosetta Stone of fucking Lovecraft's racism and how it's all just based in, like, fear. And it's really good to it's good to hear because, like, it's good to listen to because you get a look into the inner workings of the minds of an actual racist person. I really do believe that racism is rooted in fear of the other, ultimately. And you get the unfiltered look of a brilliant mind and how a man can utterly monsterize a group of people because of the color of their skin or different features. Yeah, Lovecraft was a total fucking racist. Total racist snob. Yeah, all racists feel like they're having things taken away from them. Yeah, or something that was formerly clean is now dirty. Something that was formerly pure is now stained because there are colored people in the fucking area. Can you TLDR it for me? The horror at Red Hook? I mean, honestly, no. It's a Lovecraft story. It's really hard to TLDR. It follows a guy that's investigating a rash of ritualistic murders in the Red Hook district of Rhode Island, I believe, or New York. It's actually New York. And that area was known to be a heavily immigrant populated area at Lovecraft's time, and he paints the whole area as some giant fucking, like, basically it's like a voodoo cult where like ancient Chinese like religion is mixed with some kind of voodoo shit, and all of this squat, squinty-eyed inhabitants of Red Hook and all of their, black men that are all drawn to this church, and they have this wild, like, jungle ceremony every night that you can hear but nobody can see because it happens in the basement of the church. And this white guy slowly unpeels the layers of the onion of this conspiracy to bring all these illegal aliens into the country in order to have them spread this religion amongst the blacks and the yellows and all of this. And that's basically, like, that's the best I can do. There's some mythos tie-ins, so you get this idea that if you've read the rest of Lovecraft's stories, that it's somehow based on worship of one of these chthonic gods. You know what I mean? It's all like the thing that's mentioned the most in Lovecraft's writings that kind of ties together his mythos is the Necronomicon by the mad Arab Abdul al-Hazred, which is this book that's been translated, and the different translations are treated very differently. And the closer that you get to the original, the more dangerous the book is. And all of these people that run into all these different horrors and these different little towns and different this, different that, they all have run across this book for some reason. For one reason or another, you'll, even in the fucking one that I was talking about in the Mountains of Madness, as they're sailing to Antarctica to start the expedition, they see a mirage of a great city built on top of the mountains, and they all see it. And the guy that's our narrator through the story, starts talking about how he wished he'd never blown the dust off that old tome of that old Necronomicon by the mad Arab Abdul al-Hazred, buried deep in the bowels of the Miskatonic library, And he goes through how it evoked his descriptions of, a mad city at the top of mountains, a city of madness, and blah, 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 blah. And then they eventually find this city on their expedition, and blah, 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 blah. It's I don't know, dude. I love Lovecraft. I really do. I got really obsessed with it for a long time, and just listened to the full fucking Lovecraft library over and over and over and over and over and over. And there's a lot of really fun stories there, and a really interesting mind to delve into, you know what I mean? I don't think I've ever read any of the Oz books, no. We need an animated series of Lovecraft tales narrated by you. No, dude, I can't. I would be a bad choice, dude. His use of language and shit is so, like, that's why I really recommend that people get it on audiobook, because the people that maintain the complete works are the H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society. And so they're dedicated to exacting reproduction of his language and his terminology and his pronunciations and shit. I would not be the guy for that fucking shit. Trust me. But all of the dudes that they have do the readings on that are really, really good. The one thing that I lament is that there's no female narration on it, because I think that a lot of the moods of some of these stories could have really been enhanced with a really, eerie, deadpan female narrator. But I guess that's maybe just a function of this group of people. Who would be the right guy for the job? What do you mean? Oh, to do the thing that you're talking about, to be like a narrator of a short Cthulhu mythos thing? I don't know. Somebody with some gravitas, man. Sir Ian McKellen or some shit. Yeah, you'd have to get somebody with some fucking gravitas on deck. Bring back Brando. The twisted city of madness. Oh yes, I can see it now when I close my eyes. The dark spires rising from the hilltops like weather veins. It might work, I don't know.
You do captions real bad.
You would. You ain't kidding. Morgan Freeman. Yes. At the Mountains of Madness. By Morgan Freeman. Werner Herzog, yeah, maybe. Who would be the worst to narrate it? Like Carrot Top, probably. Carrot Top or Rob Schneider.
Vince Vaughn's pretty mush-mouthed.
Yeah, Vince Vaughn wouldn't be great. Gilbert Gottfried, yeah. At the Mountains of Madness. Narrated by Gilbert Gottfried. Kid Rock, yeah, that'd be pretty bad.
Didn't Gilbert Gottfried do like a reading of 50 Shades or something?
He did, yes. It got really popular. He didn't read the whole thing, but he read selection, like the sex parts of it, basically.
Fucking 50 Shades.
My dad went to the ER with heart issues. We're waiting to hear more. Thanks for all the funnies. Your show provides a lot of comfort when I need it most. Oh, I hope your dad's okay, dude. I mean, if he's in the ER, he's in the best place he could be with that type of stuff, and here's hoping. Bobcat Goldthwait. At the Mountains of Madness. Narrated by Bobcat Goldthwait. Have Snoop Dogg narrate it. Yeah, dude. have him narrate the horror at Red Hook and add commentary. Like, what the fuck? Wait a minute, what? They're like, what? Hold on, let me read this shit again. The dark, dusky-hued men stood around like apes in a circle, worshiping the fire. What? Motherfucker, what? What's he talking about here? Man, this is he's some racist bullshit. Talking about dusky-hued people standing around like monkeys. What are you talking about? Anyway, so... Fran Drescher, no thank you. Artie Lang's audiobook, he literally gets up and leaves because he got bored and they left it in. I got it, baby.
Oh, yeah.
And then a new guy finishes it. Yeah, I mean, that is pretty funny. You know, he probably planned that. Paul, I've enjoyed the DFF on worst things ever, worst pets to have, worst jobs ever, and worst game consoles are my suggestion. Thank you. All right, dude. Fair enough. Go get a fucking profile pic, bro. Get yourself a PFP if you don't want to get banned by me. Yeah, I haven't heard any of the Harry Potter audiobooks.
I've listened to those at night a lot.
Yeah. Are they good?
Yeah. I also just read them like on paper a bunch of times in a row too.
Yeah.
So.
I didn't read them a bunch, but I read them all as they came out in hardback or whatever. I used to have them all. They're good books. Yeah, I'm enjoying this one that I'm listening to now. I was telling everybody about earlier, Murder at the Haymarket. It's like it's a little bit dense. It helps me fall asleep, but I'm getting through it slowly but surely. It's about the first American labor movement. Yeah, I'm a newer adopter of the audiobook format. Like, I didn't like them back in the day, but I've gotten into them. Yeah, the Dune Audible books changed my mind on a lot of that. They're really good.
I just have a harder time relaxing to them than you do.
Yeah. It's just a different kind of thing. You want to tune in and find out what's going on, and I'm like slowly being lulled by the story into a dream.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I should just get the Harry Potter ones again.
And get them.
I know them so fucking well now.
You know what's coming, so you don't gotta worry.
Yeah. And it's not so like mystery based that it's gonna be infuriating like Girl with the Dragon Tattoo was.
Yeah.
I had a hard time with that because it took so long to get to the point. It's like
Yeah. Dude, you could like, I don't know. Yeah, you should definitely get the Harry Potter ones though. If they help you sleep, why the heck not? Snatch them suckers up.
not all of them, but like maybe just.
Well, get the first one, and then when you're done fucking listening to that one, get the second one, and then when you're done listening to that one, get the fucking third one, you know? Etc.
I think probably Goblet of Fire is the one I read the most.
I like Goblet of Fire a lot. It was a good one. It really darkened up. Like the series really got dark with Goblet of Fire. Oh, I like it. I love the fucking voice actor guy that does Leto II. I love his, like, get me my Duncan. I just love how pompous and haughty he reads it.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, the reading of Girl with the Dragon Tattoo was great. It's just that once you know the twist, I was just impatient.
Yeah. It's like, all right, get to it. No, all right. If you never played Lego games with your wife, you're missing out. What? Lego games? Oh, yeah. You're talking about
Harry Potter.
I own a bunch of those.
Yeah.
Like, I own, like, Lego Lord of the Rings, Lego The Hobbit, Lego Avengers. Yeah, we could probably have... They are fun games. They are pretty goddamn fun games. All right, I'm going to let you guys...